Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars through the wide window. The Earth Defense Fleet moved in perfect formation around him. 50 ships, all painted in the blue and white colors of Earth. They looked strong, but Jake knew they were not enough. "Admiral, we have a message from the Galactic Council," said Captain Lisa Ward. She was young, but smart. Jake trusted her more than most officers twice her age. "Put it on screen," Jake said. The alien face of Ambassador Vexitar appeared. The Xanthari had gray skin and 4 eyes that never blinked. Jake had never liked the way they looked at humans, like they were studying bugs. "Admiral Morrison," Vexitar said in his cold voice, "the Council has made a decision. Earth must reduce its military presence in the Sol system. You have too many ships." Jake felt his jaw tighten. "Our ships defend our home. We have the right to protect ourselves. The Council believes Earth is becoming aggressive. Your military growth concerns us." The screen went black. Jake stared at the empty space where the alien's face had been. Lisa moved closer to him. "What do you think, Admiral?" she asked. "I think they're scared of us," Jake said quietly. "And that makes me worried." On Earth, Ambassador, Kate Brooks sat in her office reading the same message. She had spent 10 years working with the aliens. She believed they could solve problems by talking, not fighting. But this message made her nervous. She called General Rick Stone. His face appeared on her screen, and he looked angry. "They want us to cut our fleet in half," Kate said. "I told everyone this would happen," Rick said. "The aliens never wanted us as equals. They wanted us as pets." "Don't say that. We can work this out." "Kate, I've been watching them for 20 years. They smile and talk nice, but they never trusted us. Why do you think they always have 3 times more ships than us at every meeting?" Kate ended the call and looked out her window at the city below. Humans walked the streets, living their lives in peace. They had no idea that their place in the galaxy was being questioned. In his secret laboratory, Dr. Ryan Cross worked on things the Council was not supposed to know about. He had been developing new weapons for 5 years, not because Earth wanted war, but because Rick Stone had asked him to be ready. "Just in case," Rick had said. "Just in case they turn on us." Ryan looked at his latest creation, a plasma cannon that could cut through any known alien ship armor. He hoped he would never need to use it. His computer made a soft sound. Someone was scanning the Sol system with advanced sensors. Ryan frowned and ran the data through his programs. The energy pattern was not human. "Computer, identify the source," he said. "Unknown alien technology, stealth capable. Location, near Jupiter." Ryan's blood went cold. Someone was spying on them. 3 billion miles away, Captain Zethkar of the Xanthari scout ship watched Earth's fleet through his instruments. His ship was invisible to human sensors, or so he thought. "How many ships do they really have?" asked his second officer. "More than they show us," Zethkar said. "But not enough to fight the Council. The humans are weak. They spend too much time talking and not enough time preparing for war. What about their technology?" "Basic. Nothing we cannot handle. The Vorthon and Kalian fleets will help us when the time comes. The humans will surrender quickly." But Zethkar was wrong about being invisible. On Earth, alarms started ringing in the Defense Command Center. "General Stone, we have a problem," said his aide. "Dr. Cross detected an alien ship near Jupiter. It's been watching us for hours." Rick Stone stood up fast. "Get me Admiral Morrison, now." On his flagship, Jake received the call. His face became hard when he heard the news. "An alien ship spying on us," he said to Lisa. "And they want us to reduce our fleet. What are your orders, Admiral?" Jake thought for a moment. If he sent ships to investigate, the aliens might say he was being aggressive. If he did nothing, they would keep spying. "Send the ESS Thunder to check it out. Tell Captain Wells to be careful but firm." The ESS Thunder was one of Earth's newest ships. Captain Dan Wells commanded it with a crew of 300. When they reached Jupiter, they found nothing. "The alien ship ran away when we got close," Wells reported. "But I found energy traces. Someone was definitely here." The next day, the Galactic Council sent another message. This time it was not just Vexitar. Leaders from all 3 major alien races appeared on the screen. Earth has sent warships to investigate peaceful council vessels, said the Vorthon representative. This shows aggressive behavior. You were spying on us, Kate Brooks said from her office on Earth. We were conducting routine patrols. Your response was hostile. Admiral Morrison watched from his ship. He could see the lies in their alien faces. General Stone was right. They had never been friends. The Council demands that Earth's fleet be reduced immediately, the Kalian leader said. You have 1 week to comply. The transmission ended. Jake Morrison looked at his officers. They all had the same expression. They knew war was coming. Get me the president, Jake said. It's time to tell him the truth about our situation. That night, President Carol Mitchell met with her top military advisors. They sat around a long table in a secure room deep under the White House. How bad is it? She asked. General Stone answered first. They're planning something. The spying. The demands to reduce our fleet. The way all three races are working together. They're preparing to move against us. Can we defend ourselves? Admiral Morrison spoke carefully. With our current fleet, we can make them pay a price, but we cannot win a long war against the entire council. The president looked at each man and woman at the table. Then we need to be smarter than them. Dr. Cross smiled for the first time in days. I think we can do that, Madam President. Outside, the stars looked the same as always, but everything had changed. Earth was no longer safe. The aliens who had promised friendship were preparing for war. The trap was being set, but Earth was not as helpless as their enemies believed. 2 weeks after the spy ship incident, a golden message crystal arrived at Earth's embassy. Ambassador Kate Brooks held it in her hands, watching the alien symbols glow. What does it say? Asked her assistant. Kate read the translation on her screen. The Galactic Council invites Earth's fleet to joint training exercises in the Kepler system. They want to improve cooperation between our forces. She should have felt happy. Instead, she felt worried. Admiral Jake Morrison received the same message on his flagship. He called his officers to the meeting room. They want 70% of our fleet for these exercises, he told them. That means leaving Earth with almost no protection. Captain Lisa Ward studied the star charts. The Kepler system is far from any council worlds. Why train there? Because it's far from everything, said Captain Dan Wells, including help if something goes wrong. Jake nodded. Dan Wells had been an intelligence officer before becoming a ship captain. He understood how enemies thought. I don't like it, Jake said. But if we refuse, they'll say we're not cooperating. On Earth, General Rick Stone paced in his office. The request made no sense. Why take most of Earth's fleet so far away for training? He called Dr. Ryan Cross. Ryan, I need you to check something. Are there any alien ships moving toward our colonies? Ryan ran his sensors across space. What he found made him sick. Rick, there are Xanthari fleets near 3 of our colonies. Vorthon ships are moving toward the trade routes. And the Kalians have positioned themselves between Earth and our mining stations. How many ships? More than we've ever seen before. This isn't training. This is preparation for war. General Stone immediately called President Mitchell. Madam President, we cannot send our fleet to Kepler. It's a trap. But the decision was not his to make. The Senate met in emergency session. Senator Williams led the peace party. We must show the council we trust them, he said. If we refuse this invitation, we prove we are the aggressive ones. Senator Davis disagreed. General Stone says it's dangerous. We should listen to our military leaders. The vote was close, but the peace party won. Earth would send its fleet to the training exercises. Admiral Morrison received his orders with a heavy heart. He would take 42 ships to Kepler, leaving only 15 to guard Earth and the colonies. I have a bad feeling about this, Lisa Ward said as they prepared to leave. So do I, Jake replied, but we have our orders. Before leaving, Jake made a secret call to Commander Troy Bennett. Troy led Earth's Special Operations Fleet, 12 ships that most people didn't know existed. Troy, keep your ships hidden, but ready. If something happens to us, Earth will need you. Understood, Admiral. Good luck. The Earth fleet jumped to hyperspace. It would take 3 days to reach Kepler. On the second day, Captain Wells discovered something wrong. His ship's computers were picking up coded messages between the alien fleets. "Admiral, you need to see this," Wells said over the comm. Jake came to Wells's ship. In the intelligence room, Dan showed him the intercepted messages. "They're not random transmissions," Wells explained. "The 3 alien races are coordinating something big, and they're talking about Earth." Jake read the translated messages. His face went pale. "Operation Silence," he read aloud. Phase 1. Begins when Earth fleet reaches Kepler. Phase 2 targets the colonies. Phase 3 is the final assault on Earth itself. "It's exactly what General Stone feared," Wells said. Jake grabbed the comm. "All ships, this is Morrison. Prepare for emergency jump back to Earth." But it was too late. As the Earth fleet dropped out of hyperspace at Kepler, they found themselves surrounded. 300 alien ships waited for them. The trap had been sprung. The lead Xanthari ship broadcast a message. "Earth fleet, you are ordered to surrender immediately. Your ships will be impounded, and your crews held for processing." Jake Morrison stood on his bridge looking at the massive alien force around them. His 42 ships faced impossible odds. "All ships, battle stations," he ordered. "We're not surrendering to anyone." The alien commander sounded surprised. "Admiral Morrison, resistance is useless. You are outnumbered 7-1. "Then you should have brought more ships," Jake replied. The first shots came from the Vorthan fleet. Energy beams lit up space as the Earth ships scattered and returned fire. The HFY Columbia exploded first, overwhelmed by enemy fire. Then the ESS Denver died trying to protect a smaller ship. But the Earth ships fought back harder than the aliens expected. The ESS Thunder, Captain Wells's ship, destroyed 2 enemy vessels before taking heavy damage. "Admiral, we're losing ships. Fast," Lisa Ward reported from the ESS Vengeance. Jake watched another Earth ship die. His flagship was taking heavy fire from all sides. All remaining ships try to break through their lines, get back to Earth and warn them. "What about you, Admiral?" Jake looked at his bridge crew. They had served with him for years. Now they would die with him. "Someone has to buy you time. Go, Lisa, that's an order." The ESS Vengeance and 8 other ships punched through the alien line. Behind them, Admiral Morrison's flagship exploded in a ball of fire. But before he died, Jake Morrison sent one last message to Earth. It was short and simple. "Betrayed. Under attack. Prepare for war." Back at Earth, General Stone received the message in his command center. Around him, alarms were already ringing. "Sir, alien fleets are attacking our colonies," reported his aide. "The mining station at Ceres is under fire. The colony at Proxima is being evacuated." Rick Stone had been preparing for this day for 20 years. Now it was here. "Activate all defense protocols," he ordered. "And get me Dr. Cross. It's time to show these aliens what Earth is really capable of." In space above Earth, something impossible happened. Ships began appearing where there should have been empty space. Not 15 ships, but 50, then 100, then more. The hidden fleet of Earth was finally revealed. Captain Lisa Ward and her survivors limped back to Sol System 3 days later. What they found amazed them. Earth's orbital space was filled with warships they had never seen before. "Control, this is Captain Ward. What are all these ships?" General Stone's voice came through the comm. "Welcome home, Captain. Those are our real fleet. The ships you knew about were just the ones we let everyone see." Lisa stared at the massive vessels around her. These ships were bigger and more powerful than anything Earth had shown before. "How many ships do we really have?" "More than enough," Rick Stone replied. "The aliens thought they were attacking a weak world. They just woke up something much more dangerous. The betrayal was complete, but so was Earth's surprise. The real war was just beginning." General Rick Stone stood in the war room deep under the Rocky Mountains. Around him, screens showed the galaxy burning. Alien fleets were attacking human colonies everywhere. "How many people have we lost?" he asked. "Colony 7 is gone," reported Major Beth Hayes. "But the aliens paid a heavy price. Our hidden defense platforms destroyed half their fleet." Rick nodded. "The aliens thought they were attacking helpless settlements. They found out different. What about the mining stations? All secure. The workers are inside the asteroid bases. The aliens can't find them. Captain Lisa Ward entered the room. She looked tired after her escape from Kepler, but her eyes were angry. General, my ships are ready for orders. What are we doing about Admiral Morrison? We're going to make them pay for every human life, Rick said. But first I want you to meet someone. A tall man in a black uniform walked into the room. Lisa had never seen him before. Captain Ward, meet Admiral Paul Grant. He commands our real fleet. Lisa stared. Real fleet? I thought I knew all of Earth's ships. Admiral Grant smiled. It was not a nice smile. Captain, what you saw was our public fleet, the ships we let everyone know about. I command the Black Fleet. How many ships? 200 combat vessels, plus support ships, mobile bases, and weapons platforms you've never heard of. Lisa's mouth dropped open. Earth had been hiding a massive military force. Why keep it secret? General Stone answered. Because we learned something important 50 years ago. When humans first met aliens, we were honest about everything. We showed them our technology, our cities, our weapons, and they immediately started planning how to control us. So we gave them what they expected to see, Admiral Grant continued. A small, peaceful fleet. Meanwhile, we built our real strength. In secret. Dr. Ryan Cross entered the room carrying a data pad. He looked excited. Gentlemen, our new weapons are ready. The aliens are about to get a very unpleasant surprise. He showed them images of new Earth ships. They were sleek and black, with weapons that looked like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Plasma lance batteries can cut through any known armor. Quantum torpedoes can track targets through hyperspace. And our new AI systems can fight 10 times faster than alien computers. General Stone looked at the data. How long to get these weapons to our ships? They're already installed, Ryan smiled. We've been working on this for 20 years. Commander Troy Bennett spoke from his chair in the corner. My special operations ships are ready too. We've been practicing hit-and-run attacks for years. Admiral, Grant activated the main screen. It showed the galaxy with red dots marking alien fleets and blue dots showing human forces. Here's what we're going to do. The aliens think they've trapped us. They've split their forces to attack our colonies. That makes them weak. He pointed to several red dots. Commander Bennett, your ships will hit their supply lines, cut off their fuel and ammunition. Understood, Admiral. Captain Ward, you'll lead a strike force to Proxima Centauri. There's a big alien fleet there threatening our colony. Lisa felt her heart beat faster. How big? 60 ships. But you'll have some help. The screen showed new blue dots appearing near Proxima. Earth ships were moving into position. We're sending 30 ships with you, all equipped with our new weapons. Major Hayes raised her hand. What about the stealth destroyers? Admiral Grant's smile got wider. Major, your ships have a special job. We know where the alien fleet commanders are. You're going to visit them. In space around Earth, the hidden fleet was fully revealed. Massive battleships emerged from concealed bases on the moon. Weapons platforms activated all through the solar system. The asteroid belt itself was full of hidden military installations. Captain Wells, who had survived the battle at Kepler, stood on the bridge of a new ship. The ESS Retribution was twice the size of his old vessel and armed with weapons that could destroy a city. Sir, we're getting reports from across the galaxy, his communications officer said. Our colonies are fighting back. The aliens are retreating from several systems. Wells nodded. The aliens had made a big mistake. They thought surprise would win the war quickly. Instead, they had awakened something that had been sleeping for decades. On the Zenthari command ship, Admiral Kethvar studied the reports with growing alarm. How many ships do the humans really have? He asked his intelligence officer. We don't know, sir. Our estimates were completely wrong. They've been hiding their true strength. How is that possible? They built their fleet in secret, underground bases, hidden shipyards, fake mining operations that were really weapons factories. Kethvar felt sick. The Council had been planning this attack for years, but their information was useless. What about their technology? Superior to ours in every way. Their new weapons are destroying our ships easily. The first sign of Earth's real power came at Proxima Centauri. Captain Ward led her small fleet against a much larger alien force. The battle should have been hopeless. Instead, it was a massacre. Earth's new plasma weapons cut through alien shields like they were made of paper. The quantum torpedoes found their targets no matter how fast the enemy ships moved. In 30 minutes, 40 alien ships were destroyed. Only 10 Earth ships took any damage at all. "This is impossible," the surviving alien commander transmitted. "Your weapons should not be this powerful." "You should have thought of that before you betrayed us," Lisa Ward replied before destroying his ship. News of the victory spread quickly. Other alien fleets began to retreat, but Earth's forces followed them. Commander Bennett's stealth ship struck next. They appeared without warning at alien bases and destroyed everything they found: supply ships, repair stations, command centers. All gone. "Sir, we've lost contact with Fleet Base 7, reported a Vorthon officer. "What happened?" "Unknown. The base just disappeared from our sensors." What they didn't know was that Major Hayes had led her invisible ships right into the heart of their military zone. Her new stealth technology made her ships completely undetectable. "Target the command ship," she ordered her weapons officer. Firing quantum torpedoes. The alien base exploded so fast that nobody saw the attack coming. Back on Earth, Dr. Cross was working on something even more terrible. In his secret laboratory, he was building weapons that could destroy entire planets. "I hope we never have to use these," he told his assistant. "What are they?" "Planet crackers. Weapons that can break a world apart." The assistant looked scared. That's genocide." "No," Ryan said quietly. "That's making sure nobody ever betrays humanity again." Admiral Grant received reports from across the galaxy. Earth's forces were winning everywhere. The aliens who had seemed so powerful were running away. "Sir, the Kalian fleet is requesting a meeting," his communications officer reported. "Tell them to surrender first. Then we'll talk." They refused to surrender. Then they can join their friends at the bottom of space. The war was not even a week old, but already the aliens knew they had made a terrible mistake. Earth was not the weak, peaceful world they had thought. It was a sleeping giant, and now it was awake, and it was very, very angry. General Stone looked at the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Human forces were winning every battle. The aliens were learning what it meant to fight a species that had been preparing for war while pretending to want peace. "How long before they ask for surrender?" Captain Ward asked. "Not long," Rick replied, "but I don't think we're going to accept it. The betrayal had cost too much. Admiral Morrison was dead. Colony 7 was destroyed. Thousands of humans had died because the aliens thought they could destroy Earth easily. Now, Earth was going to show them the price of that mistake." The sleeping giant was awake, and its fury was just beginning. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Earth's small fleet had crushed the mighty Council forces at Proxima Centauri. Alien commanders who had laughed at human weakness now feared for their lives. On the Vorthon homeworld, Supreme Commander Felthak called an emergency meeting. "How did we get this so wrong?" he demanded. "Our intelligence said Earth had 50 ships. Now they have hundreds." "They've been lying to us for decades," replied his aide. "Everything we knew about human, military power was fake." Felthak studied the battle reports. In every fight, Earth ships destroyed alien vessels with frightening ease. Their weapons were better. Their tactics were smarter. Their crews fought like devils. "What about the minor races? Are they still supporting us?" "No, sir. The Altarians have declared neutrality. The Regelians are asking for peace talks with Earth. 3 other species have already switched sides." Felthak felt his world crumbling. The Galactic Council had ruled for 1,000 years. Now it was falling apart, in just 1 week. On Earth, Admiral Paul Grant stood before a wall of screens showing the entire galaxy. Blue dots marked human forces. Red dots showed alien fleets. Every day there were fewer red dots. "Status report," he ordered. Major Beth Hayes stepped forward. "Sir, Operation Silent Death is complete. We've eliminated 12 alien commanders and destroyed their command bases. The enemy is having trouble coordinating their fleets. Good. What about our production? Dr. Max Turner answered from his workstation. All shipyards are working at full capacity. We're building 3 new warships every day. Our weapons factories are producing enough plasma lances to arm 1,000 ships. Admiral Grant nodded. Earth's industrial power was something the aliens had never understood. Humans could build things faster than anyone in the galaxy. Sir, we have a priority message, announced the communications officer. The screen showed Captain Lisa Ward on the bridge of the ESS Vengeance. Behind her, the stars were filled with burning alien ships. Admiral, we've secured the Tau Ceti system. The alien garrison surrendered after we destroyed their flagship. The human colonists there are safe. Any casualties on our side? 2 ships damaged, no losses. The aliens fought hard, but their weapons couldn't penetrate our new armor. Admiral, Grant smiled. Earth's defensive technology was as advanced as their weapons. Human ships could take hits that would destroy alien vessels. Captain Ward, proceed to the Vega system. Intelligence reports a large enemy fleet gathering there. Understood. Sir, we'll handle it. The transmission ended. Admiral Grant turned to his staff. Gentlemen, it's time for Operation Reckoning. We're going to hit all 3 alien homeworlds at the same time. General Rick Stone, watching from his command center, felt a moment of concern. Paul, that's a big step. Are we sure we want to attack their home planets? They attacked our colonies first, Admiral Grant replied coldly. They wanted total war. Now they have it. Dr. Ryan Cross entered the room carrying a secure data pad. His face was serious. Admiral, the planet cracker weapons are ready. Each one can split a world in half. Everyone in the room went quiet. The power to destroy entire planets was something that scared even Earth's military leaders. How many do we have? Admiral Grant asked. 12. But sir, using them would kill billions of innocent civilians. Then we won't use them unless we have to. But I want the aliens to know we have them. Meanwhile, Commander Troy Bennett led his Special Operations Fleet toward the Zenthari capital system. His ships were invisible to enemy sensors, allowing them to scout ahead of the main attack force. Sir, the Zenthari have positioned over 200 ships around their homeworld, reported his tactical officer. What types? Everything they have. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, even their ancient dreadnoughts from the museum. Troy smiled. The aliens were throwing everything they had into defending their homes. That meant fewer ships to attack human colonies. Send the data to Admiral Grant, then prepare for Phase 1 of our mission. Phase 1 was psychological warfare. Troy's ships appeared suddenly in the middle of the Zenthari defense fleet. Before the aliens could react, the human ships destroyed 12 enemy vessels and vanished again. Panic spread through the alien fleet. If humans could appear anywhere without warning, nowhere was safe. On the Kalian homeworld, Empress Zara Lynn received reports that made her blood run cold. Your Majesty, human fleets are approaching all 3 of our core systems. They're moving faster than our ships can intercept. How many ships? We count at least 300, but there could be more. Their stealth technology makes accurate counts impossible. Empress Zara Lynn had ruled the Kalian Federation for 30 years. She had seen wars before, but nothing like this. What about our allies? The Zenthari are too busy defending their own worlds. The Vorthons are requesting immediate peace talks with Earth. And the minor races? Most have abandoned us. Some are actually helping the humans now. The Empress realized the truth. The Council's attack had not destroyed Earth. It had created a monster. Back in the Sol system, Captain Dan Wells stood on the bridge of his new ship, the ESS Retribution. It was the most powerful warship Earth had ever built. Sir, we're receiving surrender requests from 6 different alien fleets, his communications officer reported. What are Admiral Grant's orders about surrenders? Accept them only if they provide intelligence about Council military positions. Wells nodded. Earth was not interested in mercy anymore. The aliens had started this war by betraying their promises of friendship. Now they would face the consequences. The first major battle of Operation Reckoning began at Zenthari Prime. Captain Ward led 50 Earth ships against the alien homeworld's massive defense fleet. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the space around Zenthari Prime was filled with wreckage. But it was alien wreckage, not human. "This is Captain Ward to Zenthari High Command," Lisa broadcast to the planet below. "Your orbital defenses are destroyed. Your fleet is gone. Surrender now, or face the consequences." On the planet's surface, billions of Zenthari citizens watched the sky fill with human warships. The species that had ruled the galaxy for centuries was being defeated by the race they had tried to destroy. Supreme Leader Kethmore spoke from the planetary capital. "Captain Ward, we request terms for surrender. The terms are simple. Complete and immediate surrender of all military forces, war crimes trials for all leaders who ordered the attack on Earth, and reparations for every human life lost. And if we refuse," Captain Ward's voice was ice cold, "then we'll show you what happened to the others who refused." She was referring to the Vorthon mining colony that had tried to resist. Commander Bennett's stealth ships had reduced it to rubble, without losing a single human vessel. Dr. Cross, monitoring the battle from Earth, activated his special project. Above the Zenthari homeworld, space itself seemed to crack. A massive weapon appeared, pointed directly at the planet. "What is that?" gasped the Zenthari defense minister. "That," Lisa Ward replied, "is what we call a planet cracker. It can split your world like an egg. Do you still want to refuse surrender?" The surrender came immediately. Similar scenes played out at the other alien homeworlds. Earth's military might was overwhelming. Ships that had seemed invincible were destroyed easily. Weapons that had conquered worlds were useless against human technology. But the most shocking thing was Earth's restraint. Despite having the power to destroy entire planets, they chose not to. They defeated their enemies, and then offered mercy to those who surrendered. Admiral Grant received reports from across the galaxy. The war was essentially over. 3 major alien civilizations had been brought to their knees in less than 2 weeks. "Sir, we're receiving peace requests from over 40 alien governments," reported his aide. "What about the council leaders who ordered the attack?" "Most are dead or captured. The few survivors are hiding in the outer rim." General Stone joined the conversation from his bunker on Earth. "Paul, the President wants to know what our next step is. Do we occupy their worlds? Set up military governments?" Admiral Grant thought for a moment. Earth now had the power to rule the galaxy. But did they want to? "No," he said finally. "We're not conquerors. We're defenders. Let the aliens rebuild their governments. But they'll do it under human supervision. And if they try to attack us again?" Admiral Grant looked at the display showing Earth's massive fleet, ships that had been built in secret for decades, weapons that could crack planets, technology that made humans the most powerful species in the galaxy. Then they'll discover that this was us being merciful. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Never underestimate humans, never betray their trust, and never, ever make them angry, because when Earth's fury was unleashed, it was unmatched by anything the stars had ever seen. President Carol Mitchell stood in the Oval Office looking out at the night sky. 3 weeks ago, Earth had been just another member of the Galactic Council. Now they were the most powerful force in the galaxy. Admiral Paul Grant entered the room, carrying reports from across known space. "Madam President, all 3 major alien civilizations have formally surrendered. Their military forces are disbanded. War crimes trials are beginning on their homeworlds." "What about the minor races?" 47 species have requested to join a new galactic government under Earth's leadership. They're calling it the Terran Alliance. Carol Mitchell had been a senator before becoming president. She understood politics, but ruling a galaxy was something no human had ever done before. "Paul, are we ready for this responsibility?" "That's not for me to decide, Madam President. That's why you're the one making these choices." On the former Zenthari homeworld, Captain Lisa Ward oversaw the surrender ceremony. The proud alien warriors who had started this war now knelt before human officers. "Supreme Leader Kethmore," Lisa said formally, "you are charged with ordering unprovoked attacks on human colonies, breaking galactic peace treaties, and causing the deaths of over 10,000 innocent civilians. The gray-skinned alien leader kept his 4 eyes on the ground. I accept responsibility for my actions. The Terran military court will decide your fate. But I want you to understand something. Your people attacked us because you thought we were weak. You learned different. Captain Dan Wells, now promoted to admiral, stood beside her. He had lost many friends in the war. What happens to the Zinthari people? Cathmore asked. That depends on them, Lisa replied. If they choose peace, they'll be welcome in the new alliance. If they choose war again, they'll face the same fate as their military. On Earth, Dr. Ryan Cross dismantled his planet cracker weapons. The war was over and such terrible devices were no longer needed. Are you sure about this? Asked his assistant. These weapons won Earth the war. No, Ryan said quietly. Fear of these weapons helped end the war quickly, but actually using them would have made us monsters. We're better than that. General Rick Stone agreed. In his command center, he watched the last alien military bases surrender to human forces. The aliens started this war because they were afraid of what we might become, he told Major Beth Hayes. If we had destroyed their planets, we would have proven them right. So what do we do now, General? Rick looked at the star charts showing the galaxy. Red dots had marked enemy forces for weeks. Now they were all blue, showing worlds under human protection. Now we prove that power doesn't have to corrupt. We show the galaxy that humans can be trusted with strength. In the council chambers on the neutral world of Rigel 7, representatives from across the galaxy gathered for the first meeting of the Terran Alliance. Ambassador Sam Parker, Earth's new diplomatic representative, stood before hundreds of alien delegates. Unlike his predecessor Kate Brooks, who had believed in appeasement, Sam understood that respect came from strength. Friends and former enemies, he began. We gather today to build something new, a galactic government based on equality and justice, not fear and dominance. The Altarian delegate raised her hand. Ambassador Parker, many of our people fear human rule. Your military power is overwhelming. Sam nodded. Your fears are understandable. But look at our actions, not just our weapons. We could have destroyed the Council homeworlds. Instead, we're helping them rebuild. We could have enslaved the alien races. Instead, we're offering them partnership. A young Vorthon spoke next. What guarantees do we have that humans won't become oppressive rulers? The same guarantee that any free people have, Sam replied. The right to defend yourselves. We're not disbanding your local defense forces. We're not taking away your governments. We're offering protection and leadership, not conquest. Commander Troy Bennett, now Fleet Admiral Bennett, added his voice from the military section. The human fleet exists to protect all Alliance members, not just Earth. Any species that joins us will have the full support of our military. But that protection comes with responsibility. No more wars of conquest. No more oppression of weaker species. The delegates talked among themselves in dozens of languages. Finally, the Kalian representative stood. Admiral Bennett, your species defeated us completely. You could rule us by force. Why offer us choice instead? Troy thought of Admiral Morrison, who had died at Kepler defending his principles. He thought of all the human colonists who had suffered because the Council chose betrayal over cooperation. Because, he said, that's not who we are. Humans fight when we must, but we prefer to build. We prefer to grow. A galaxy ruled by fear would eventually rebel. A galaxy led by example will choose to follow. The vote was not even close. 49 species chose to join the Terran Alliance immediately. The others asked for time to consider. President. Mitchell watched the proceedings from Earth. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but she felt hopeful for the first time in weeks. Ma'am, her aide announced, you have a call from Captain Ward. Lisa's face appeared on the screen. She was aboard the ESS Vengeance, now flagship of the human deep space fleet. Madam President, I wanted to report that the last Council holdouts have surrendered. The war is officially over. Any resistance? None. The alien civilians are actually welcoming our forces. Apparently the Council governments were not very popular with their own people. President Mitchell smiled. Maybe this will work out better than anyone expected. 10 years later, Ambassador Parker stood before the Galactic Assembly on the new capital world of New Geneva. The building was designed by architects from 12 different species, combining the best of human and alien design. Friends, he said, to the gathered representatives, today marks the 10th anniversary of what history calls the Betrayal War. It was the shortest and most decisive conflict in galactic history. The audience included humans, Xanthari, Vorthons, Kaelians, and dozens of other species. Former enemies now worked together on scientific projects, trade agreements, and exploration missions. The council leaders who ordered the attack on Earth believed they were preventing human domination of the galaxy. Instead, their betrayal revealed humanity's true character. When given ultimate power, we chose to share it. In the audience, Admiral Grant, now retired, sat next to former Supreme Leader Kethmore. The old enemies had become unlikely friends, while working together to rebuild the galaxy. The price of betrayal, Parker continued, was not just military defeat. It was the loss of 1,000 years of council rule. But from that loss came something better, a galaxy where strength serves justice, where different species work together, and where no one needs to fear their neighbors. Captain Ward, now Fleet, Admiral of all Alliance forces, added her thoughts. The humans who died in this war, especially Admiral Morrison, did not die in vain. They died defending the principle that all sentient beings deserve freedom and respect. Today, that principle guides our entire galaxy. Dr. Cross, working in his new laboratory on the scientific research station above Rigel, had created technologies that improved life for every species in the Alliance. Medicine, agriculture, transportation, communication, all had advanced dramatically, under human leadership. We learned something important during the war, he said during his speech to the Science Council. Technology is only as good as the people who use it. Power is only as valuable as the purposes it serves. The ceremony ended with a moment of silence for all who had died during the brief but terrible war. Then the delegates returned to their work building a better future. That night on Earth, General Stone walked in his garden under the stars. At 80 years old, he had lived to see humanity grow from a fearful species hiding their strength to confident leaders of a peaceful galaxy. His granddaughter found him there. "Grandpa, my teacher says you were a war hero." Rick Stone smiled. "No, child. The real heroes were the ones who chose mercy when we had the power to destroy everything. Anyone can win a war. It takes wisdom to win a peace." Above them, the stars shone down on a galaxy that had learned the most important lesson of all. Betrayal might bring temporary advantage, but honor and justice would always triumph in the end. The sleeping giant of Earth had awakened, shown its strength, and then chosen to use that strength to protect rather than conquer. And in doing so, humanity had earned something more valuable than fear. They had earned respect. The great hall of the Galactic Council was silent. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy sat in their seats, waiting. The light from distant stars came through the massive windows, casting long shadows on the floor. Ambassador Keth of the Altarian people walked slowly to the center of the room. His blue skin looked pale under the bright lights. His hands shook as he held his speech notes. General Vex watched from his special seat high above the floor. The Zelkarian leader was twice the size of most beings in the room. His red armor gleamed and his forearms rested on the chair's metal sides. Behind him sat rows of his officers, all wearing the same red armor. They looked bored. They had conquered 17 star systems. What could this small, peaceful species possibly tell them that would matter? Keth cleared his throat. The sound echoed in the quiet hall. "Members of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice soft but clear. "I come before you today with a warning about a world called Earth." Some beings in the crowd shifted in their seats. Earth was a small planet in the outer rim of the galaxy. Most species barely knew it existed. Its people sent out radio signals that showed they were young and divided. They fought wars with primitive weapons and had barely reached their own moon. 50 years ago, Keth continued, My people sent 3 exploration ships to the Earth system. We wanted to make contact with the humans. Our ships were the best we had. They carried our most experienced crews. His voice grew quieter. None of them ever returned. General Vex let out a loud laugh. The sound boomed across the hall. Ambassador Keth, he called out, his voice deep and rough. Are you telling us that your ships were destroyed by humans? Beings who still use chemical, rockets and metal bullets? Other beings in the crowd began to whisper and laugh. The Altarians were known for being peaceful, but they were also known for having weak military forces. Their ships were built for exploration, not fighting. Keth's face showed pain, but he continued. We sent more ships to find out what happened. These crews were told to stay far from Earth and only watch. What they saw? He paused, looking around the room. What they saw made them flee back to our homeworld immediately. What did they see? Asked Counselor Zara, a tall being from the Vegan system. Her voice showed she was curious, but also doubtful. Human ships, Keth said, but not the primitive vessels their radio signals suggested. These ships moved in ways that should not be possible. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Our sensors could barely track them. He looked directly at General Vex. And there were so many of them, hidden throughout their solar system. The crowd grew quiet again. Even General Vex stopped laughing. Keth pressed on. We are not the only ones who have experienced this. I have spoken with representatives from 6 other species. All of them sent ships to Earth. All of them lost ships or had their crews flee in terror. He pulled out a small device and activated it. Images appeared in the air above the council floor. The first image showed a burned and twisted piece of metal floating in space. This is all that remains of a Corvan battlecruiser, Keth explained. The Corvans are known for their strong military. Their ships have thick armor and powerful weapons. This cruiser was found drifting near Earth's moon. There were no survivors. The next image showed a different ship, this one completely intact but empty. This is a Nexari science vessel. It was found orbiting Earth with all its crew missing. The ship's computers showed no record of any attack. The crew simply vanished. General Vex stood up, his massive form casting a shadow over the floor below. These could be accidents, he said. Space is dangerous. Ships are lost all the time. 7 different species, Keth asked. All near the same world? All with no clear explanation? He shook his head. This is not coincidence, General. This is a pattern. Dr. Yule from the Science Division stepped forward. He was a small, gray being with large eyes. Ambassador Keth, he said in a high, thin voice. Our long-range scans of Earth show a primitive civilization. They burn fossil fuels for energy. They use projectile weapons in their wars. Their fastest ships barely reach a fraction of light speed. How could such a species pose a threat to advanced civilizations? Keth looked tired. I cannot explain how, Doctor. I can only tell you what has happened. Every species that has approached Earth with anything more than the most basic observation has suffered losses. Some have lost ships. Some have lost crews. Some have simply had their ships return with crews who refused to speak about what they saw. He activated his device again. This time, an audio recording played. The voice was rough and filled with fear. It spoke in the Altarian language, but the Council's translation system made it understandable to all. Command, this is Captain Thex of the exploration vessel Seeker. We have observed the human homeworld as ordered, but something is wrong here, very wrong. Our sensors detect massive structures beneath their cities, energy readings that make no sense, and the humans, they know we are here. They are watching us. We request immediate permission to leave this system. The recording cut to static. Then another voice came through. Seeker, your request is denied. Continue your mission. Then came Captain Thex's voice again, but now it was filled with panic. Command, they are coming. Human ships, but not like anything in their transmissions. They move like they are alive. We are leaving the system now. Do not send anyone else here. Do not. The recording ended in silence. The great hall was quiet for a long moment. Finally, General Vex spoke. "Even if this recording is real," he said, "it proves nothing. Captain Thex may have panicked over shadows and sensor ghosts." "General," Keth said, his voice now strong and clear, "I have stood before this council and given you the truth. 7 species have approached Earth. 7 species have suffered losses. The humans may appear primitive, but appearances can lie. I beg you to listen to this warning." General Vex looked around the room at his officers. They all wore expressions of confidence and mild amusement. The Zelkarian Empire had never met an enemy they could not defeat. Their weapons could destroy planets. Their shields could stop any attack. What could one small world of primitive humans do against such power? "Ambassador Keth," General Vex said, his voice filled with authority, "the Zelkarian Empire appreciates your concern, but we do not make decisions based on fear and rumors. Earth sits in a strategic position on the outer rim. Its resources would benefit the entire galaxy under proper management." He paused, looking down at the small blue figure on the floor, below. "The Empire will investigate this world properly, with sufficient force to handle any surprises." Keth's shoulders slumped. He had failed. "General, please, do not underestimate them. Whatever the humans truly are, they are not what they appear to be." But General Vex had already turned away, speaking quietly with his officers. Plans were already being made. Ships would be prepared. The conquest of Earth would begin soon. As the council session ended and beings began to leave the Great Hall, Keth stood alone in the center of the room. He had done everything he could. The warning had been given. Whether anyone would listen was no longer in his control. Above, General Vex smiled as he walked toward the exit. Earth would fall within a month. Of this, he was certain. 3 weeks later, the Zelkarian war fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 3,000 ships filled the darkness of space. The smallest vessels were twice the size of Earth's largest buildings. The flagship Dominator was so massive it had its own gravity field. General Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the blue and green world through the main viewing screen. Earth looked peaceful from this distance. White clouds swirled over brown and green continents. He could see the lights of human cities on the dark side of the planet. "Scan the system," Vex ordered his science officer. Commander Kral worked at his station, his 6 arms moving quickly over the controls. "Sir, I detect primitive space stations around the planet. Several small ships in orbit. Nothing that poses a threat to our fleet." Vex nodded. This was exactly what he had expected. "What about their military forces?" "Ground-based missile systems, sir. Nuclear weapons, but very old designs. Fighter aircraft that use chemical fuel. No energy shields, no plasma weapons." Kral looked up from his station. "Sir, their most advanced ships appear to be simple transport vessels. No weapons that our sensors can detect." "Perfect," Vex said with satisfaction. "Send the standard surrender demand." The message was broadcast on all human communication frequencies. It was simple and direct. "People of Earth, you are now subjects of the Zelkarian Empire. Surrender immediately and your lives will be spared. Any resistance will result in the destruction of your cities." On Earth, the message was received in a hidden facility buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Lisa Grant sat at a control station, watching data stream across multiple screens. Next to her stood Captain Jake Morrison, a tall man in a military uniform that bore no national markings. "They're using the standard Imperial protocol," Lisa said, her fingers dancing over her keyboard. "Same as the Corvins used 5 years ago." Jake nodded. "And the Nexari before them. They never learn." He pressed a button on his console. "All stations, this is command. Operation Mousetrap is now active. I repeat, Operation Mousetrap is now active." Across the planet, hidden facilities began to respond. In what appeared to be ordinary office buildings, weapons systems came online. In innocent-looking warehouses, fighter squadrons prepared for launch. Beneath major cities, thousands of people moved through tunnels and bunkers with practiced efficiency. Above, Earth's atmosphere, the human response began. old nuclear missiles launched from various countries streaking up toward the alien fleet. The Zelkarian ships easily destroyed them with energy beams. Fighter jets rose from military bases around the world, their primitive engines leaving smoke trails in the sky. Vex watched the pathetic display with amusement. Is this all they can manage? Destroy the fighters and prepare for planetary bombardment. The Zelkarian ships opened fire. Beams of energy lanced down from space, striking military bases and government buildings. But something was wrong. The explosions were too small, the damage too limited, and the human casualties were far lower than expected. "Sir," Commander Krall said, confusion in his voice. "The human cities are nearly empty. Our sensors show massive population movements, but we cannot track where they have gone. Underground bunkers," Vex said dismissively. "Cowards hiding like insects. Continue the bombardment." Lieutenant Kate Sullivan pulled her fighter into a steep climb, chasing 3 Zelkarian interceptors into the upper atmosphere. Her aircraft looked ancient compared to the sleek alien ships, but it moved with impossible grace, turning and diving in ways that should have torn it apart. Behind her flew 5 more human fighters, all moving in perfect coordination. They spoke to each other in calm, professional voices, using tactics that seemed far too advanced for a primitive species. "Lead 3, you have 2 bogeys on your 6, Kate's wingman called out. "Copy that, Lead 2. Braking left in 3, 2, 1. The human fighters scattered, but not in panic. Each movement was calculated, drawing the alien ships deeper into Earth's atmosphere. The Zelkarian pilots, confident in their superior technology, followed eagerly. "Now," Kate said quietly into her radio. What happened next defied everything. The Zelkarians thought they knew about human capabilities. The primitive fighters suddenly moved with incredible speed and agility. Their weapons, which had appeared to be simple projectile guns, fired energy bolts that cut through Zelkarian armor like paper. In seconds, all 3 alien fighters were destroyed. On the surface, Major Tom Bradley coordinated the evacuation of Denver, but this was no panicked retreat. Civilians moved in orderly groups through hidden tunnels. Military equipment emerged from concealment points throughout the city. Anti-aircraft systems that had been disguised as cell phone towers and water tanks came online. Tom spoke into his radio headset. "Sector 7 is clear. All civilians in bunkers. Defense grid is active." Similar reports came in from around the world. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, all reporting successful evacuations and active defenses. The humans were not caught off guard. They had been ready. In space, the real battle was beginning. General Vex watched in growing alarm as his sensors detected new contacts. Ships were appearing throughout the solar system, but not from the direction of Earth. They seemed to materialize from empty space itself. "Where did they come from?" Vex demanded. "Unknown, sir," Krall replied, his voice tight with worry. "They appear to be using some form of stealth technology. Our sensors cannot track them properly. The new ships were nothing like the primitive vessels Earth had shown the galaxy. They were sleek, dark, and moved with deadly purpose. When they fired their weapons, Zelkarian ships died." Commander Alex Rivera stood on the bridge of the human ship Phantom as it closed in on a Zelkarian destroyer. His crew worked with quiet efficiency, their movements showing years of training and experience. "Target their engine section," Alex ordered. "We want prisoners, not wreckage." The Phantom's weapons fired once. The alien destroyer's engines exploded, leaving the ship drifting helplessly. Boarding pods launched from the human vessel, carrying soldiers in advanced armor. Similar scenes played out across the solar system. Human ships that should not exist hunted Zelkarian vessels with terrifying skill. The hunters had become the hunted. On the Dominator's bridge, alarms blared constantly. Damage reports flooded in from across the fleet. General Vex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. In less than an hour, he had lost over 300 ships. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Our intelligence reports showed a primitive species. Where did these ships come from? Where did they learn to fight like this?" Commander Krall looked up from his station, fear clear in his large eyes. "Sir, I'm receiving a transmission from the human government." "Put it through," Vex ordered. The main screen flickered and a human face appeared. It was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes, but something in his expression made Vex feel cold. "General Vex," the human said calmly. "My name is Director Peter Kane. I represent the Earth Defense Council. I believe we need to talk." Vex found his voice. You were ready for us. This entire system is a trap." Director Kane smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. "General, you were warned not to come here. Your own Galactic Council tried to tell you. But your empire never listens, does it?" Around Earth's solar system, the battle continued. Human. Ships moved through the Zelkarian fleet like sharks through a school of fish. For the first time in their history, the mighty Zelkarian Empire was not the hunter. They were the prey. And they were learning that Earth's reputation for being dangerous was not built on fear or rumors. It was built on the bones of every species that had made the same mistake General Vex was making now. The trap had been set long ago. The Zelkarians had simply walked into it. General Vex cut the communication with Director Kane and turned to his officers. His red armor was covered in sweat, and his 4 hands shook with anger and fear. "Launch all ground forces immediately," he ordered. "Take their cities. Use the humans as shields against their own ships." Thousands of Zelkarian dropships fell toward Earth like metal rain. Each ship carried 50 soldiers in battle armor. Their weapons could melt steel, and their shields could stop bullets. General Vex was sure that on the ground his forces would have the advantage. The first wave of ships landed in what had been New York City. The Zelkarian soldiers expected to find crowds of terrified humans. Instead, they found empty streets. The massive city was completely silent. Buildings stood intact, but no people moved inside them. Traffic lights still worked, but no cars drove on the roads. Captain Zek led his squad through Times Square. The huge screen still showed advertisements, but the streets below were like a ghost town. "Command, this is Squad 7, he spoke into his radio. "The city appears to be abandoned." "Impossible," came the reply from the ship above. "Our sensors detected millions of humans in this area just hours ago." Captain Zek looked around at the empty storefronts and silent buildings. "Well, they are gone now, sir." Similar reports came from landing sites around the world. London was empty. Tokyo was deserted. Moscow showed no signs of life. Every major city had been evacuated with impossible speed and efficiency. In orbit above, Earth General Vex faced an even worse problem. More human ships kept appearing from nowhere. They moved through space like living things, phasing in and out of reality.